Hey, everybody, 708. Not a great start, but welcome to Chiefs Digest, the live stream Q&A here on Tuesdays, as always, even during Thanksgiving week. I'm sure there's going to be a week we're going to get challenged here with the holidays, but you know what? We're going to make it all work. Appreciate everybody who can join us tonight. Sorry, as always, for the late start. Thought I was going to start on time, but every once in a while, there are things beyond my powers that unfortunately delay us, but we are going. And we got, maybe it's because there hasn't been a new comment yet since I popped up the live stream. There we go. Now it's firing away. Hey, it's good to see you. I can't read the comment from that small, so I have to, there we go. Oh, it's Brenda. There you go. Hey, Brenda. Great to see you. Great to have everybody joining us. I know we've got some questions already in the stream. Don't have a lot to talk about. I know there will be some questions about Dameon Pierce at some point tonight, and we'll talk about that. I mean, it's a practice squad edition, so I would always say tap your brakes on expectations about what you're going to get from a practice squad edition, and especially from a player who just got released and waived from a team that is in playoff contention, and it's a player that obviously the Texans didn't think could help them, but you never know. We have seen changes in scenery, turn around players' careers before, and be just the spark that they need. So let's see what happens, but I'm sure we'll have a Dameon Pierce question or two tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about the injury situation because obviously the Chiefs have a few questions going on, and I just flat out don't see. I'm not going to be too optimistic about either Trey Smith or Noah Gray playing on Thursday. Trey, I think you can completely rule out. The question really is going to be, how long is Trey out? Because I certainly think that more than one game is possible for him to miss. So let's see what happens there. It's with a longer turnaround for the next game for week 14. There'll be at least a better chance, but I'm not too optimistic. I mean, it sounds like it is a complicated injury. Looks like it is both a high and a low ankle sprain. So, and on top of that, Trey's been dealing with the back injury, which is not going away either. So that's going to be a problem going forward. So let's see what happens there with Noah not out of the concussion protocol. And it is very, very difficult, if not almost impossible, to get through the concussion protocol in essentially 3 days. We'll see if Noah travels with the team. Maybe it'll be our first indication on Wednesday if we get some word about whether or not he even travels with the team to Dallas. But it's very, very difficult. Sometimes it's difficult, even if things are all going well and a player is symptom-free, for a player to get cleared for a Sunday to Sunday game. So I'm not terribly optimistic about either one of those guys being available this week. Really, the only concern I would say on Tuesday from the injury report was Chris Roland Wallace being limited with the back issue that he hurt on Sunday against the Colts. Now, remember, Tuesday is the only day that the Chiefs are practicing this week. Both Mondays and Wednesdays injury report that's going to be coming out were estimates, just based on how the player feels about them. There will be a game status that comes out on Wednesday as well as normal. I would certainly, at this point, I would expect Trey Smith to be listed as out. Noah Gray could be doubtful, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was listed as out as well. Chris Roland Wallace will be the one to really watch. I would not be surprised either if Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice, maybe Leo Chenal, but that one seems to be the least of the concerns. Xavier's ankle continues to be a big bothersome, and even though those guys, he and Rashee Rice with the hamstring, were both full goes on Tuesday, wasn't a lot of activity. I mean, it was a very light practice on Tuesday, so it wasn't strenuous in the least, but I still say full participation is better than limited. So it at least means there was nothing holding them back. So they're going to give it every shot unless there's a setback. I think both those guys will play. The only question is, will the Chiefs have any limitations on their playing time? or could anything pop up during the game that exacerbates the injury that could keep them out or knock them out for a period of time? You never know. So the only other injury I have on anybody's radar, and I don't think it's major, but Patrick Mahomes was a full participant. He's been enlisted on the injury report with the groin injury. He kind of injured that I'm trying to remember the exact wording he used today. He tweaked it on one of those runs down the sideline on Sunday's game. He had another run in that fourth quarter in that same drive. I believe it was a touchdown drive. And so I think it was, I'm trying to remember exactly about the runs, but it was leading up to the touchdown and 2-point conversion, because he was limping off the field after the 2-point conversion and did not look real comfortable there. But obviously he gutted it out, finished the game. And Patrick Mahomes, he's going to play, but clearly he's getting treatment on that groin injury. They're going to do everything they can to help him. He will play. Question is just going to be, is he going to be limited in any way? Could that pop up during the game again and slow him down? We'll see. I think it's just, to me, it's only something to just monitor during the game. If you see Patrick at some point come up a little gimpy, might be that groin is giving him a little bit of grief. Dallas has a pretty lengthy injury report, but I'm not sure that there's anything super serious on there. George Pickens was limited on Tuesday, but imagine he is going to play. Don't really see any major concerns there. Like I said, they've got a lot of names on there, but Tyler Guyton might be the only guy that might be at least questionable. He did not practice on Tuesday. I would imagine that the Cowboys, similar situation to the Chiefs, possible of being the home team, that they might do something of a walkthrough, practice on Wednesday. But usually on these short weeks, NFL teams are just focused entirely on recovery and trying to get ready and trying to get back into shape for this one. So that's pretty much, I think, all I've got to say as far as comments go and everything. So let's go into it. And I'm actually paying attention. And so, hey, we all know, sometimes I'm not paying attention on the super chats, but I did tonight. So, Jesus, if you got a super chat for you, I'm going to be looking for your name to give you just a free bump, because you've earned it for putting up with my nonsense. But I'm not going to forget any super chats tonight. So we're going to start off with the super chat from Can I Pet That Dog? I think Chiefs carry 4 running backs and Nico is inactive. It's a bold bet. I would say you're crazy, but I can't say that you're crazy. I mean, the Chiefs are looking for some spark on special teams. So, and Nico is reliable. That's the one thing that they love about Nico the most, is that he is reliable. So that's why Dave Toub trusts him. But Brashard Smith, Tyquan Thornton, I mean, there's more electricity there. I still think Brashard is their high-end best return specialist. Nico would still be very valuable on punt returns, just because, once again, he's reliable. And that's one thing that the Chiefs favor on punt returns, is just being able to hand the ball back to Patrick Mahomes and not there being any issues. And haven't really given anybody else an opportunity this year. So that would still be why I would lean towards Nico still being active and being the punt returner. But the fact that, and now some of that was Nico did get dinged up a little bit on Sunday, but assuming all is well, I would still think that he is going to be one of the return specialists. But like I said, I mean, the Chiefs are trying to find some explosion back there. So, do they work in Tyquan a little bit more? Could Xavier fit into this? I don't think with the ankle injury right now, Xavier's fitting into that, but maybe he might be a part of the equation. My only quibble with the 4 running backs, and I get it, is just that more running backs, I don't know if it's the solution to their problem. It might be, considering that Kareem's got 30 touches that he's coming off of, and I don't think that Isaiah is going to be anywhere close to 100% on Thursday. But it had Brashard, and so do you sit down a receiver and go to a 4th guy? Maybe it's Clyde. Could it be Damian? I think that's a quick turnaround off one, like I said, one very abbreviated practice. I think would be tough for Dameon Pierce to get in there and do anything. Crazier things have happened, so I'm not. Sometimes weeks, dog. I could poo poo that, but I am not going to. But we'll see what happens. So. Appreciate the super chat, and Brother Rick's appreciate the super chat. To your knowledge, is there a chance BJ Thompson returns? No player is wearing his number. I got a little bit of a tickle there. I apologize that the cough went out there. I'll be honest, Rick, I have not heard anything about the status of BJ. He did return to the Chiefs when they waived him off of the non-football illness list. He did return, but then they did reach an injury settlement with him to continue to pick up his rehab and pay for all of that, but just not have him on the roster. I would love it for him to be able to make a return. I think it would be obviously an incredible story. I haven't heard anything about that. I will definitely ask though, Brother Rick. I'll get you that answer on a future live stream. But I'll definitely check into it and see what his status is. Because I'll be honest. I mean, my impression was that for the most part he was pretty much back to full health. Now he may still have a little bit of work to do and everything. And the challenging thing for BJ obviously is he was kind of near the end of the roster as it was before the cardiac episode. So I don't know what his plans are. I don't know if he's kind of moving on with his life and going in a different direction. Check in with his agent and see if I can get some scoop there and let you all know, because BJ's a good dude and I wish the absolute best for him. So I do not know for sure, but Brother Rick, I will, for you and the gang here, I will absolutely check and see if we can't find out for you. So be on the alert. If I can find out for you for next episode, I definitely will. Great question. I appreciate you asking that. And thanks again for the super chat. So let's start at the top. Tyler Keeney. Does Trey Smith injury make him a candidate for short-term IR, or is this hopefully just a game or two kind of thing? If he's not put on IR before the Cowboys game, is it safe to say he won't be? That last part, I would agree 100%. Yes, that if he's not put on IR before Thursday, I would imagine he would not be, because then you're just adding another game. Now it would be 5 games that he would be required to miss before he would return. I get no indication that that's where the Chiefs are going right now, because I think that they believe that he will miss fewer than 4 games. Could it be 2 or 3? Possibly. Could it be 4? I mean, it's entirely possible. They would prefer for it not to be. I think Trey would prefer for it not to be that many. High ankle injuries are tough. I mean, they are really, really tough to come back from. But that's my impression, is that they're not planning on doing that. We'll see what anything happens in the next 36 hours to change their mind. Really, I take that back. I mean, 24 hours, because for the 3:30 game, any transactions that need to be made before the business deadline on Wednesday. So if they're doing any roster moves or any practice squad elevations, that'll need to be done by 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that they will try and get by with him without going to short-term IR, but we'll see what happens. Luttrell, was the Jawan Taylor face mask reviewable if Chiefs used a challenge? No. Penalties, for the most part, are not reviewable. There are a few penalties where replay assist can help out, but face mask is not amongst them. So that was a conversation that came up. There was a couple of penalties that came up on Sunday that were questionable enough that there were some thoughts about, hey, is that something that you can review, or anything that replay assist can help out with? And that is not. I think the NFL is still pretty silly that they limit how much the replay assist can help out with some penalties and some fixing some things. And especially because I don't think the officiating crew had a very good day on Sunday. There were some rough moments. So I think they need to expand that, but that's for another day. Davis Kenneth, am I crazy? Or if you're not going to play Elijah Mitchell, you might as well play Carson Steele. He can't do worse than Clyde. I mean, I have little frustrations there too, Davis. I'm with you there. Um, I mean, we really didn't get to see much of Elijah in that the Broncos game, as far as finally giving him a chance and everything. I'd like to see more. Clyde had a couple of good moments against the Colts. I was a little surprised. I just wasn't sure how much juice that Clyde still had, and so he had a moment or two. I still don't think that's a long term or a viable solution, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I do think that at some point they need to really give Elijah an extended opportunity. I mean, I understand you're going for a playoff spot here at this point, this late in the season. It's not necessarily about giving a guy an opportunity, about the guy earning an opportunity and making the most of it when they get it. And Elijah hadn't done that yet. But I would like to see more from him. I mean, maybe they saw enough to realize, but again, if he's on the 53 and you don't think he can help you, what's he doing on the 53? As far as Carson goes, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Carson. I mean, especially at this point, they might need some fresh legs. I can't. I'm not going to poo-poo anything, and I think I said poo-poo way too many times so far tonight. I need to put that on my retired list for the evening. But let me put it this way: we've seen so little from this running back room that I'm not going to ixnay anybody that is going to get an opportunity in the backfield. If you want to give Carson Steele an opportunity, I can't argue against it because nobody else. I mean, I've settled on my description of what Kareem did on Sunday as brutally productive. It wasn't efficient. There was nothing super efficient about it, but it got the job done. But Chiefs have not been getting the job done for the most part in the backfield, and 3.5 yards of carry is nothing to be proud of. I mean, it's kind of below expectations. I mean, Kareem's EPA was negative on Sunday. I mean, that's what 3.5 yards are going to do for you. So, hey, you'd like to see some more explosiveness? It's going to be. I mean, I still want to see more Brashard Smith. So until Brashard Smith gets more opportunities, I'm not going to necessarily be pounding the table for anybody else. But if you want Carson Steele, I will not prevent you from pounding the table. Chiefs need to try something because they still need an answer in the backfield, and they haven't found it yet. The Joey 0914. I think hopefully I didn't screw that up too badly. Chiefs special team has looked overmatched in phases of kicks, kickoffs, punts, cover kicks, returning kicks. Chiefs offense started average of 15-yard line. Colts 43-yard line. Is talent depth weak? I mean, I don't think that it's I mean, honestly, really, I mean, you're talking about average start position. The average is affected by the penalties, and that's discipline. I mean, that's just, and there's been a real commonality to some of the penalties, especially the holds, blocking the backs, some of these things. There's been a commonality to the Chiefs just holding their blocks a little bit too long on kick returns, and teams taking. I feel like some teams taking advantage of it. Like that, there's a reputation that the Chiefs have out there for holding their blocks too long. And if you're a cover guy on a kick return, and you're engaged with one of the Chiefs players, and they got a hold of you, why not put your arms up, fall down, whatever, to show that you're being held? If you get the penalty, I mean, nothing wrong with it. And I think there's a book out there that's what the Chiefs do, and some teams have been taking advantage of it. Jacksonville, I thought absolutely did that against the Chiefs, and they they drew a couple of critical holding penalties on Jack Cochran. But you just can't do that. But they've been making mistakes across the board, Joe, on special teams. This has been a rough year. And yes, there's a couple of key guys from the past. I mean, Justin Reed was a special teams leader for this team, and losing him, I knew was going to affect the special teams, but they've got a lot of other veterans and a lot of four-phase guys who have been around for a while. They've got good young talent, and And for the most part, the penalties aren't the young guys. It's not, Noel Williams being, flagged, or Jeff Boss. I think he's had a flag or two, but nothing excessive. It's just there's been some. This has been the worst year the Chiefs have had on special teams in a while. They had a few years ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when it was. I want to say it was probably like 21 or 22, where they had a lot of turnover. It would have been the year that they basically. I think they lost Dan Sorensen that year, Dorian O'Daniel. There was a lot of four-phase guys and players that they lost, and a handful of them, and they had new guys coming in and take over those spots, and they had a rough year that year, and then they got better. Well, this year, I'm not sure why it's been such a difficult year, because they do have some veterans out there. They've got good players. I don't know what's going on, but special teams have not been good this year. And that's on Dave Tobe. I mean, he's got to wear it. And he was not available today. It was nothing conspiracy related. Short week. So when the schedule was sent out 10 days ago, I guess it was only about a week ago. So 7 or 8 days ago, when the schedule came out, it was included this week. And the Chiefs had already told us that only Spags and Nags were going to be available on Tuesday, and Tobe was not going to be available just due to the time crunch. So there wasn't because of the performance on Sunday that we did not get to talk to Dave Tobe today. Alex, I'm really hoping we get to see what the new running back has to offer. I mean, I think you're going to sooner than later. I mean, there's no reason to not give Dameon Pierce a chance if they like what they see. He's only had 10 touches this year in a couple of games. So you need to see more. And if he's going to be your third or fourth running back, you're going to want to have him on special teams. So he needs to get those things down too and get that work in. But we don't know. I mean, we really don't have a good feel. I know from the 10 snaps that Nick watched that he thought that Pierce had some juice, and there was some pop in him, and he and Pacheco came in the league in the same year, and they've had somewhat similar trajectories. I think you'd absolutely say that Pacheco has had the more successful career. But Dameon Pierce, go back to his rookie year, there was a lot to like, and he hasn't necessarily had a serious injury that's taken him off course. It's curious just as what has happened to him the last few years. So if the Chiefs can tap into it and get him moving in the right direction, maybe they can reclaim something and get some value out of Dameon Pierce. But I don't know. I don't think we'll see it this week, but let's see what happens next week and the next couple of weeks. Maybe that'll be the opportunity for him. Once again, just depending on how he looks in practice. Ethan, hey, finally caught you live for the first time this year. Ethan, good to see you. I remember seeing you before, so it has been a long time. I'm glad you're able to. We got several new names I've noticed here tonight, so I appreciate that. And thank you for coming in. Hope you like what you see and stick around and come back. Do you think Veach watches the games and knows he should have drafted someone to fill X, Y, and Z roles? And I'm assuming you're just talking about X, Y, and Z metaphorically, and not like, the X, Y, and Z receivers. But yeah, I do. I mean, I think he will probably, I would say, and I'll be interested, because I think we're going to have this conversation, in the after the season's over. Maybe we'll have it before that, because Brett Veach usually does talk to us at some point during the postseason, or when the Chiefs clinch a playoff spot. So hoping they clinch a playoff spot just so we can talk to Brett Veach sooner. But I think he would say that, that they probably wish that they had taken a different route on some things. Now, does that mean that they would say, hey, would rather have taken a different running back than Brashard Smith? I'm not sure. I mean, because I think they like Brashard Smith. I think they might say that they just wish that they had addressed that position earlier, maybe more often, maybe differently. I mean, and that's the thing, it's running backs can be so volatile, and you just never know what you're going to get sometimes. I mean, I like Javonte Williams in the free agent class. That's the guy that I would have signed. A lot of people would have said J.K. Dobbins is the guy that you go out and get. Elijah Mitchell was an acceptable answer for people too. Wasn't a terrible answer that the Chiefs went with. All three of those guys were basically minimum salary guys and pretty inexpensive. It's random sometimes. It's the right place to be. I mean, unless you have one of those handful of elite running backs, I mean, you have like one tier of maybe like 10 or 12 guys that are maybe head and shoulders above everybody else. And then you've got probably a chunk of anywhere from 40 to 60 running backs that are largely interchangeable. I mean, they can do different spots, and it's just a matter of getting the right one in the right place. Maybe Damon Pierce is going to be that. Maybe Elijah Mitchell's job is somewhere else. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco maybe is going to go somewhere next year and just crush it. I mean, you never know. It's just the right player in the right spot at the right time. I do think that defensive line is another area that they wish that they had addressed a little bit differently and maybe earlier. Probably if Brett Veach could do it over again, I imagine he would probably sign maybe a different defensive tackle or maybe an additional defensive tackle. Maybe, instead of just Jerry Tillery, they would have kept somebody else. I don't know. Maybe they would have gone about the roster cut down before the season with Mike Pennell differently. I don't know. I think they would have also maybe done something differently and maybe at least brought in more competition at edge rusher. I think that's another spot where they would have liked to have maybe added another veteran. So maybe that's a spot where they wish they had gotten somebody, or at least a competition piece, even if it's not something. I mean, once again, Chiefs are living on the scraps of the salary cap barrel right now. So it's not like they got a ton of money, but had they just maybe picked up a different player, different guy at a different spot. Yeah, I think there's a few things that Brett Veach would probably say this year that maybe he wishes he would have handled a little bit differently. And he's never going to say anything that's going to diminish anybody that he's got on the team. But we'll see. We'll see what he's got. You never know. We'll find out. So, hope you say I have too many windows and I'm bouncing around. But going to Beach. I hope I'm pronouncing that one right. Beach 303. Whatever it costs, Chiefs need to go get Ruben Bain. It's the Miami Hurricanes, right? Defensive lineman. I think he's a defensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, pretty good defense. Looks like a pretty good dude. I don't know a ton about him. I've seen the numbers, seen a couple of highlights here and there. Nick and I, we get so much more into the college players and the draft and everything later once the Chiefs season is over. So I'm still a little bit of ways off from that, but defensive tackle, defensive line, you are trolling in the right place, Beach. That's definitely going to be a place that the Chiefs are looking. I mean, there's a handful of spots that they're going to have to try and tackle in the draft next year. And defensive line is an area that they are absolutely going to hammer. I mean, I would not be surprised if they came out of the next year's draft with an end and a tackle. And hey, obviously this campaign this year would be differently if they had Omar Norman Lott healthy the entire time, but that didn't work out for them. So let's see what happens. But no, I mean, like I said, you're absolutely prospecting in the right place. Oh, but he's a defensive end. There you go. I was looking at the numbers. For some reason I was thinking it was a tackle, but either way, I mean, like I said, you're talking in the right place. That is absolutely an area where the Chiefs are going to be focusing in the off season and in the draft, because they need to get better on the defensive line. There is absolutely zero doubt about that. They need to get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz. And anything that they can do to do that, they are going to do. So I think they're going to try to address defensive line in a few different ways in the offseason. Let's see. I think Scott was next up. He's the NFL rule change on kickoffs and special teams in general had a negative impact on Dave Toub's coaching. I mean, I would be inclined to just absolutely say no way, because Dave Tobe, one of the guys who came up with the rule, so he should know it better than most other people. I mean, I do think that the Chiefs, obviously, I think they've sacrificed a little bit by going with the most reliable option on returns, maybe rather than most electric option. I mean, I'm biggest probably Nico Remigio defender that there is around there out there. I mean, I think he's just one of those, gritty football players that does everything right, that coaches love and everything. And he's been one of those guys, and he doesn't make mistakes. And that's the best thing about him, especially as a punt returner, is that he's not going to turn over the football and make mistakes. And the Chiefs have had trouble with that in the past. But he's not super fast, not super electric. So I feel like that the Chiefs have had a pretty good strategy. It's just that, once they just don't have the electric big time play guy there. And Brashard Smith is that guy. I'm still not entirely sure about Tyquan. Tyquan has never really been a big time return player. And I think that some of that stems back again to the fact that, Tyquan, I think his one limitation is just that he's not as fast as some other guys in changing direction. He's really fast in a straight line, and that makes him a really valuable guy on deep routes and 9 routes and fly routes, but and streaks. But if for making turns, I think it's just a little bit more difficult. It's kind of more difficult for him to get back up to full speed after he changes directions a little bit, and that's where I think his limitation is. Even though, hey, if Tyquan can hit a hole and not have to change direction and just run straight forward, maybe make a gentle turn and hit the hole, he could return a kick. There's no doubt about it. But New England didn't really rely on him in that and give him a chance for it. The Chiefs haven't really. Dave Tobe hasn't really gone out of his way to give him a ton of opportunities, some in the kicking, on kickoff returns, but not on punt returns. And I think it says something about what the Chiefs think. But I think that's part of it, obviously, is that the Chiefs just haven't had the electric pace. Hey, Harrison has made some mistakes on kickoffs, and those are on Harrison. I mean, then there've not been the penalties that Harrison has drawn for, like, balls not being in the landing zone or kicking the ball out of bounds. That's on Harrison. I mean, he'll tell you 100% that's on him. Not really anything your special teams coach can do about that if your kicker just makes a mistake. And is that sometimes the only thing I think you could really blame Dave Tobe on for that would just be maybe taking too aggressive of a strategy. I mean, sometimes they have tried to place the ball close to the sideline, that ball that bounced out of bounds, I guess, against Jacksonville. That one was just an aggressive placement. Now, Dave Tobe, I think, would also tell you that the ball was just too close to the sideline. That's not where it was supposed to go. So it was a mistake by the kicker. Is there something that Dave Tobe is missing? I don't know. I would have to see another year, because remember, Chiefs had some big moments on special teams last year, and maybe they will again. I mean, maybe they're going to get a block at some point. You're going to feel pretty good about these special teams. Maybe they're going to get a return. That's all it can take to maybe wipe out a lot of sins that the special teams have had this year. But I would like to think, Scott, that it's not a negative for Dave Tobe. Like I said, he came up with a large part of the rule. I mean, he was one of the driving forces behind it. So I would think he would feel pretty good about coaching it. Now, there are some teams that are doing some different things and doing things differently than the Chiefs do them, and are having some success with it. So maybe the Chiefs do need to make some adjustments, but that's a lot easier said at the beginning of the year than it is mid-season. So is that an indication about what maybe the Chiefs maybe need to do next year, and in the offseason change an approach? Possibly. Red Devil Chief, excuse me. What role can we expect for Dameon Pierce going forward? He had 7 other offers from teams, so him coming to KC must had some playing time guaranteed. I mean, there's not usually like a guarantee for playing time other than a verbal guarantee, and there's nothing in writing, there's nothing in contracts about that. Now, there could be some incentives for playing time that maybe he could hit that is in that contract. I haven't seen the details of the contract. Sometimes for guys on minimum salary deals, we don't even get all the incentives and the perks and everything like that. Sometimes take everything with a grain of salt that you hear. Sometimes you get the rosy version of it. Maybe 7 teams called about Dameon Pierce. Did he get 7 offers? Were they all 7 practice squad offers? Now you can guarantee some practice squad money. You can give a signing bonus. I mean, and like I said, I haven't seen the full numbers on him to see if there's anything that the Chiefs did. Pull it up real quick and see if his contract details are available yet. They might not be. That probably might be one of the reasons why I haven't seen anything. But let me see here real quick. And nothing there, but check one more place real quick and then we'll move on. But yeah, I mean, I know there was a big deal made about Denver was interested, and hey, players in that situation, there's 2 things that they're going to look at. They're going to look at money, and they're going to look at opportunity. And hey, this is an opportunity. I mean, there's nothing that's solidified in the Chiefs' backfield. You know that Isaiah Pacheco's got an injury. You know that Kareem Hunt's in year 9. There's a lot of possibilities in Kansas City. So it doesn't look like his contract numbers are out yet. And like I said, usually for practice squad guys, we don't get all the details, but usually we get at least like what the guaranteed money is. And if there's a signing bonus of any sort, that would tell you just how competitive it was to get him. But we'll see. And, I mean, once again, I mean, it's tough coming in at the end of the year in a season like this and just making a big contribution, but we'll see what happens. I always say in these situations, go in with modest expectations and you're not going to be disappointed. So, I mean, could Dameon Pierce not touch the ball once for the Chiefs? It's entirely possible. Is it possible that here in a week or 2 that he gets an opportunity and get some touches? Yeah, just because that's the kind of state of the Chiefs run game right now. So I think anything is possible on the table there. I assume that at LOL, Jesus was my comments about the. See, I'm looking for your question, Jesus. So if you got a question, I'm definitely going to try and come to you. Let's see. I got excited there, and I started because I was looking for a question from you, Jesus. So I started to bypass some other questions. Mr. Visionary 8867, why did Damian P go downhill so fast, and how do you think he will be for the Chiefs? How do you think he'll be used? What happened with Damian Pierce in Houston, Mr. Visionary, is a real mystery to me. I don't get it. He's had some minor injuries. I think he had a hamstring at the end of his rookie year that kind of kept him from being able to get to 1,000 yards. Otherwise, he would have had a 1,000-yard season that year. He's had a couple of nicks and dings here and there, but nothing that I'm aware of that's been a long-term injury of any sort. Now, they've had, a coaching change. So trying to, who was still their coach his rookie year? I'm sure someone else has already answered it for me. That was Lovie Smith. That was, I guess, his rookie year, that coach. And so that's kind of maybe explains a little bit of it. I mean, Lovie, they had a certain scheme there that kind of fit with what Lovie wanted to do defensively. So, hey, was it that? I mean, coaching change? Was it scheme change? All of it? Is there something else that's been a part of it? I mean, scheme change can be enough of it as it is. That, it's just a player doesn't fit in one scheme, but fits into another. Maybe he's a better fit for what the Chiefs want to do. Maybe that's why he came to Kansas City. I mean, that can be, part of the opportunity part of it can be, wait a minute, is this an offense that I'm comfortable with, that I can play in, that I feel good about? If that's the case, then yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for, why maybe Damian chose Kansas City. But I'll be honest, I mean, from just a 30,000 foot view of seeing him Looking at some of his tape, looking at the numbers, looking at the injury history, I don't see anything super serious that explains, what, could have led to kind of him just falling downhill though since. And now I know Pep Hamilton was the offensive coordinator that first year, and I mean, Pep would have a good offense for a guy like Dameon Pierce. So I understand, and that makes me lean even more and more to the idea that maybe it's just a scheme fit, maybe it's just a coaching environment, because I could see, Pep Hamilton. I think is a guy that would probably fit in pretty well in the Chiefs coaching staff one day if they went that direction. I think he interviewed with the Chiefs a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I believe he was a candidate for a coaching spot on the Chiefs. That would, hey, I think Pep's system would have been good for him. So if that's it, explains it all, it makes sense for me. Ethan, you said we can ask you about anything. So here's my non-football related question. Have you ever rode on the KC streetcar or the new UMKC extension? Well, I definitely haven't been on the extension. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm just having faulty memory. I believe I've ridden on the streetcar. But honestly, I don't remember. Man, I mean, gosh. I mean, I feel like I did just a novelty years ago just to do it. I mean, but I'm not really downtown very often where I need to get to somewhere where the streetcar's going to go next. And I'm such a pitiful devotee of driving in my car that I'll just get in my car and drive to wherever I need to go next. So, no, I can't. I mean, I have nothing against the streetcar. I mean, when back in my PR days, I worked in an industry that was very aggressive in its support of public transportation. So I get all the benefits and everything of this nature. I still think that Kansas City could really use a public transportation system that goes to the airport, but I know that's an expensive solution, but it's still something I think that Kansas City could also just really, really use. But we'll go down that road another time. Yeah, and everybody, you can ask me questions anytime. I mean, it doesn't have to be about football. You can always ask me anything. I may not answer it. I'll try to, but you can always ask. So, but that's a fun question, Ethan. I mean, yeah, I probably should try the streetcar more. But like I said, I just haven't. It's been a situation a lot of times. Like I said, I think I wrote it once for just novelty at the very beginning. There might have been an event for it. I can't remember. Man, I'll probably lose my urban street cred here. Luttrell, do you think it hurts KC bringing in free agents when there are multiple examples of outside guys coming in and not getting much use in? Really, I don't. I mean, like I said, I mean, for the most part, free agents they're concerned about themselves, Luttrell. I mean, they don't usually look at other people's situations and be like, okay, hey, this person so and so went to this team and didn't get used, so I shouldn't go there. Maybe it's gonna be bad for me. Players just don't think that way. I mean, they really, for the most part, it's all about them. I mean, it's for the players, it's how much money are they giving me, and do I think this is a good situation for me? I mean, if how other free agents have fared is way down on the list. I mean, there's going to be more. I'll be honest. When I talk to players about why they've chosen certain situations and everything like that, and especially for when you're talking about, here's where the more competition is, honestly, for the players who don't make as much money. I mean, for the higher end players, I mean, it's going to come down to money. And those situations, sometimes it just comes down to two teams. But, you get into like bidding wars, for instance, on undrafted free agents. There's a great example. Those guys don't care about what's ever happened before. They are simply looking for money and opportunity. So, I mean, in that sense, the Chiefs they're going to probably be hurt more by just, so there's going to be some guys who are like, I'm not going to Kansas City because those guys are loaded in that position and there's not going to be a spot for me. And that's why sometimes the Chiefs have to draft players to fill spots at those positions because they know that they're just not going to have much of an opportunity at some undrafted free agents because they're going to go somewhere where there's a better opportunity. You'd be really surprised just how much, free agents are focused on those two things alone and almost nothing else. And sometimes it's one or the other exclusively. Most of the time it's money exclusively, and money solves all problems. So if anybody ever had an issue like that, they could certainly have their concerns assuaged with some cash. But no, I haven't seen it to this point hurt the Chiefs in any way. I can't really say. I mean, I know everybody hopes for the opportunity and thinks about the opportunity that, hey, you're the Chiefs. Everybody's going to want to go to the Chiefs if they get an opportunity. And I think there's been some situations where, the Chiefs have gotten some guys that was simply because the guy was ring shopping and came to Kansas City because that was where they thought they had the best. Maybe that's Dameon Pierce. I don't know. I mean, if I'm still looking for a team, I don't care if the Chiefs are 5-5 or 6-5. I'm still going to go with the Chiefs because they still, right now I'd say between the Chiefs and the Rams and the Eagles, those would be the two teams that you'd go to. You still think probably have the best chance to win a Super Bowl this year. It's just who they are. So, you would really be surprised. And I'm hoping to maybe on the offseason be able to do some more player interviews. And that's one thing I would love to, have a player come in and talk about and is going into, the rationale, especially if a player has gone through free agency, to just talk about the rationale and what things, because, hey, the NFL is going through this whole rigmarole right now about the NFLPA free agent survey, what they originally were billing it as, is about the, polling the teams and players about their teams and their facilities and coaches and ownership and all of this. It was originally supposed to be a free agent guide. Well, players don't care. Seriously. You look at the guys in Cincinnati. Cincinnati, for the most part, is considered to be the cheapest team in the league as far as just how they kind of nickel and dime everything. Now, the Chiefs had a reputation for being in that area too, so there's that. But you have the worst facilities in the NFL. Players don't care. It's not college. They're not going for the facility. They're going for the paycheck. And does it hurt to have a better facility? The Chiefs have been sprucing things up and the players are happier and that helps. Absolutely. But nobody, for the most part, makes any decision on free agency other than money and opportunity. Let's see, make sure I didn't lose my place. I think. Let's see. I had a couple places I was going to go to Michael first. Michael King, first-time commenter. Good to have you here. Appreciate it, Michael. Good to see you. Any update on Rice's hamstring or Cowboys left tackle? I was going to say, with Guyton, I have not read anything out of Dallas today. Maybe one of you in the comments, maybe you already answered that. I was going to just pull up real quick and see if there's anything. It says it was in a walking boot today, so unlikely to start on Thursday. That sounds like probably not going to see Tyler Guyton. That would be obviously good news for the Chiefs and their pass rush. That certainly would not hurt. Rashid, haven't gotten any indication from the Chiefs that it's a concern about him playing. He was obviously a full participant on Tuesday and the only really real workout that they've had. We'll see what his designation on Wednesday. Even if he's questionable on Wednesday, I would still expect him to play. My only concerns, honestly, about Rashid and Xavier with the ankle is simply if those are going to be anything that would pop up during the game and going to get exacerbated that might knock them out of the game or limit them in a period of time, limit a little bit of their ability, limit their workload, anything like that. But because all indications are that both those guys are going to play. So not sure that there's anything that really says it's a serious concern about with Rashid, but obviously hamstrings, they're always going to make you nervous. So I'm not going to tell you not to be nervous, but it looks like he will play and no real concerns there. Beach 303, when was the last good free agent Veach has signed? I mean, I know someone threw out there, I think maybe it was you. Yeah, it was you that threw out the Joe Tooney. I think Justin Reed was a good free agent signing. I think Jalen Moore's a fine free agent signing. I mean, he's done everything you've needed. I mean, he's given you the insurance, gave you the insurance to be able to go out and draft Josh Simmons. So I don't have a lot of issues. And I think you're headed towards having a year next year where Josh Simmons is on the left side and Jalen Moore's on the right side. And if that's the way it works out, I think you're going to be pretty happy with the way that the Jalen Moore signing worked out. And then, there's others, that weren't big, flashy number wise, but Drew Tranquil is a great free agent signing. I mean, just the first time that they ended up signing him, alone. And a guy like Mike Edwards, the first time that they signed him. Like I said, these aren't big name contracts or anything like that, big number contracts, but I think those were good deals. Like I said, I think Jalen's going to be a good one. So if you're just talking about, pure big top of the line free agent signings, the Chiefs probably have whiffed on a couple of them. Charles Minihue wasn't as big number wise, as Tooney was. Tooney was literally, the Chiefs paying him to be the highest paid guard in the league. So when was the last time that they did that? They had an outside guy that came in that they made the highest paid in the league. They didn't really do that. I think they got their money's worth for the most part from like the Orlando Brown trade, not really a signing, but a trade. Donovan Smith. It's once again, Chiefs have probably gotten their most mileage out of scouting and finding players that, have good value for them. Big free agent signings, boy, that's the other part of the trick. For Joe Tooney, that's a really good signing. Most free agent signings don't work out that well. And just look around the league, go back and look sometimes, and look at players who switch teams, for big money deals. You'd be surprised how many of them don't work out. So you want them, you need them to work out. But maybe the flip side of it, Veach, what was the last, terrible free agent signing that Brett Veach had? Where he spent a lot of money and got nothing out of it. Christian Fulton right now would probably be making a case for that. And, and that deal's not done yet. They're going to probably have another year together unless, something happens. But it's free agency is fickle. It absolutely is. Let's see. Frank, I think you're next up. Frank, how do you see the running back room playing out this week? Does Pacheco slide back in and get most of the carries? It's going to be really tricky to me. I'll be interested to see. I would assume that if Pacheco plays this week, and I'm assuming that he is, it's always a possibility. Once again, things can happen. There can be setbacks. All indications are it looks like he's going to play this week, but I don't think he's going to be the lead back. I think that this week, I think he would just be filling in a little bit and just helping out, taking a little bit of the load off of Kareem. I don't think he's going to be, maybe it ends up being where it's a split backfield, maybe 12, 13 carries a piece for both those guys. Wouldn't surprise me though, if it was more like 8 touches for Pacheco and maybe 15 for Kareem. Maybe it's, depending on how many times the Chiefs actually run the football. If they run the football 41 times again, then Pacheco may get a few more touches. But my gut tells me that it's going to be less than 50% of the workload for Pacheco, and I would say that over 50% of the workload for Kareem, and that's obviously filtering in that Brashard, maybe somebody else gets touches. But I would almost say maybe less than 40%. I don't know that, given how big of a brace that Pacheco was wearing last week in practice, I think it's I'm I don't think it's I don't think it's a concern. I'm all hemming and hawing a little bit, Frank, and it's not because of you. And it's I'm not going to bring up the question just because I don't like to get into anything like this, and it's a personal thing. And Mac John, I'm not calling you out or anything like that. But I just want to nip it in the bud. No, Nick's not coming on the show as uh, well. One, it has everything to do with the fact that it annoys him that I let this sometimes the show go on for 3 hours because I spend too much time answering some questions and I probably ramble a little bit. So he's just giving me some tough love. But the other thing too, the big part of it that everybody I try to act. I mean, and Nick has tried to stress this before too, and I'll stress it too, is that this is his day off. This is his free time that he comes in on Tuesdays. This is not he's not at not 41 today. This is literally him coming in because he wants to help me out and support the channel and help bring people here and answer questions and engage with Chiefs fans um and hey, sometimes it has, let's put it this way, it has more to do with the question sometimes than it has to do with yeah, certainly has something to do with the question sometimes more than it has to do with uh, management. And it here I am, I'm rambling again. I know it's terrible. But no, Nick and I are completely and totally great. I mean, we talk every single freaking day. We're like best buds. So probably shouldn't let that out there because I don't think Nick wants anybody to know that he's best buds with anybody. But he's got a few best buds, so I'm not jealous. But no, that's not a thing. So like I said, nothing personal. Mac, I'm not going to bring the question up. I've spent more time on this than I wanted to, but I just don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring it or anything like that. I'm just saying, no, that's not a thing. Bobby is the best quarterback lineup for the Chiefs. McDuffie, Watson, and CRW in the slot. Starting to look that way, Bobby. And I thought it was really interesting the conversation that we had with Steve Spagnuolo today. Just talking about that, because I tell you what, I mean, the more and more you look at this usage, and I mean, it's 100% the case. I mean, still, the Chiefs do not know and truly understand and have figured out what their best defensive back rotation is. They're increasingly, however, their actions are telling us that they believe that McDuffie and Watson are their best options, and that their third best option when they need to go to a third corner on the field in the slot is to use Chris Roland Wallace or to use Chamari Connor and to rotate those guys. And honestly, I mean, it's starting to look too like it is a matchup decision between Chamari and Chris Roland Wallace. It's who is the best matchup that week in the slot. And they're sharing it too. I mean, there's sometimes you're going to see one or the other. And I'd have to go. I need to do this tomorrow and go through and look at some of the film, because what typically Spags and Dave Merritt do in a lot of these situations is that, and they've done in the past when, I mean, this goes all the way back to 2019 and the Kendall Fuller, Tyrann Mathieu days, and they've had some other situations with Justin Reed. I mean, Justin Reed and Chamari Connor were kind of like this a little bit last year. Even Trent McDuffie and has been in this kind of spot too with Justin Reed. It's that when if they go to a cover three kind of look, what they're able to do if with Chamari and Chris Roland Wallace and Brian Cook's on the back end and in the middle, and then you can have CRW and you've got um, Chamari, excuse me, you've got them on either side, and then one of them can come in down to the slot or just line up there. They can also just back off. I mean, they can show you different looks, but depending on which side that the defense is going on, and depending on where there's motion, anything of this nature, where the offense is going, rather, I mean, they've got the option to basically give teams different looks, but they can also respond to teams with running. They can not tip off their defense by keeping one of those guys on each side. I am kind of rambling here a little bit, Ann. I'm sorry. But it's basically, I mean, it's an option for them to be able to display their defense without adjusting it to anything that the offense is doing, but being able to use Chris Roland Wallace and Chamari Connor as basically shadows on either side. And then once you see what the offense is doing and you're adjusting to it, well, now one of those guys comes down into the slot. They kind of rotate a little bit, and then they go from like a cover 3 look to a cover 2. Like I said, I need to go back and look at the film from Sunday against the Colts and see how much they were doing that, and how much they were kind of playing off those two, or how much they were just letting Chris Roland Wallace play in the slot. And the crazy thing is that, I mean, and Spags kind of talked about it today, not knowing, whether Chris Roland Wallace's best position was a safety or a corner. And, unless they have changed it, I mean, they've been using Chris Roland Wallace as what they call a safety, because he works out with the safeties. So, I mean, he's still sometimes listed as a corner, but as far as how when the Chiefs run a practice, they consider him a safety. And that's probably why they still have him in that kind of group. I mean, because he is the Chamari Connor backup too. I mean, that's what his role was going to be this year. Was they've got Chamari built as this guy that is kind of the centerpiece. I mean, I don't know why you're making Chamari Connor the centerpiece of your defensive secondary, but he kind of is, even though you've got Trent McDuffie. But they kind of built everything a little bit around Chamari's flexibility and ability to play the slot. And now Chris Roland Wallace is kind of in that spot too, where, he's gone from just being a mere backup to Chamari to actually being a guy that they can play with him, and they rotate a little bit. It's not part of your question, Bobby, but it's fascinating to me is that the rise of Chris Roland Wallace has come at the expense of Jaden Hicks, which is amazing because those two guys don't play the same position at all. I mean, Jaden Hicks is much more of a box safety and a back end safety. Chris Roland Wallace is more of a slot corner and a little bit of box. I mean, they're going to play him on the back end too. I mean, he can move around a little bit, but they're really different flavors of safety. And yet, the Chiefs have just been going more with a lineup that uses Chris Roland Wallace in that slot, and therefore he's kind of been creeping into Jaden Hicks's playing time. I mean, Jaden Hicks has had some. I think he played like 15 snaps on Sunday, but he has had some games where he just did not play at all. And I don't get it because Jaden Hicks is a really good player. I still think he is going to be a starter next year because I think that the Chiefs are probably going to let a safety go via free agency. And Jaden Hicks is more than ready to step into that role. He's a really good safety. But just, I mean, Chiefs are kind of have an embarrassment of riches a little bit at safety. I mean, they have more safeties than they've got spots to play them right now. But yeah, I mean, based on their actions, I mean, the Chiefs are saying that certainly against certain teams and certain looks, McDuffie, Watson, and CRW are their three best guys across the front with Chris Roland Wallace in the slot. And then Chamari, lets Chamari play a little bit more in the back end. I still think Chamari and that's why I think it's a matchup thing. There's probably going to be some games where you see Chamari playing more in the slot than Chris Roland Wallace does, depending, and maybe it'll be this week because of the injury. Maybe they'll make that adjustment. But there's probably going to be receivers and particular ones. Oh my goodness. I said this because I literally have been watching the start. I don't know if there's something, Jesus, that it's doing to you, but I've literally been watching my little start thing here, and it had been setting on 3. And then I see your super chat from once again 15 minutes ago when I saw it. And now it says 4. But I swear it did not say 4 like 2 minutes ago. I mean, this is just unreal that this keeps happening to you, Jesus. I have no idea what's going on here. There's got to be a conspiracy theory to the whole thing. But super chat question is, I mean, actually, I think a very legitimate question. I mean, are you disappointed with Hollywood? And, um, I mean, I think, I mean, let's put it this way. Let's just take it this year, because last year was a lost year. I mean, the injury was the injury, and I don't think there's anything you could really do about that, change it. I mean, it is what it is. So this year, are you disappointed in what you're getting from Hollywood? I mean, look, I mean, he's going to probably, I mean, once again, I mean, one big game could turn it around and everything. And he had a really big catch on Sunday. I mean, no, he has not been terribly consistent, and he's had maybe the one game against Buffalo. He had one, that big catch against Buffalo that kind of inflated his numbers a little bit. And, but he had those 10 catches for 99 yards when he was basically the only guy they had against the Chargers. I mean, you didn't have Rasheed and you didn't have Xavier, and he just took over and did everything he could in that game. I mean, he's been inconsistent since then. I mean, the numbers have been steady, but not great. And I think, I mean, it is mostly, I still think with Hollywood, I think it is a situation where he's just the third or fourth option sometimes the fifth option. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, because if you're the Chiefs, you expect and you want Rasheed and you want Xavier being higher than him in the pecking order. You want Travis being higher than him in the pecking order. So now all of a sudden, okay, he's your fourth receiver. I mean, Hollywood's probably going to end up with 600 or 700 yards this year. There have been plenty of times where, the Chiefs' fourth receiver didn't have 600 or 700 yards. Their fourth receiver might have had 250. So I don't know. There's a lot of ways, Jesus, that I am not disappointed in Hollywood, that he's kind of just giving you what you probably should expect. Now, did you overpay for it a little bit? Probably, but it's not a terrible contract. So I can't really criticize it that much. And, the Chiefs are getting production, and see what happens. I mean, if he ends up with 700 yards instead of 600 yards, I mean, is that a big difference? But I would say if your fourth wide receiver gets 700 yards, you've had a really good offense that year. So I don't think I am. I mean, I understand that, there's probably been a couple of plays that you wish that he had made. I'm trying to look at his official drop numbers here. I don't think I've got it on this page. No, we do. He's been credited with 2 drops. I mean, that's not terrible. That's reasonable. I don't know. I mean, and he's come through in some clutch moments. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure I can say that I'm disappointed. I mean, especially if he ends up with 700 yards this year, I'm not going to be disappointed in Hollywood. No, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I can say that. It's a great question though, Jesus. I think I appreciate you doing the super chat on it. I just wish I'd seen it, 15 minutes earlier. My goodness. I mean, Jimmy saw it. I mean, I need to get an intern to help me see the questions sometimes. I swear, Jesus, it didn't. I should show you all the screenshot and everything like this, so you can see, my little board here of when I get the questions. And, for anybody, I answer super chat, it automatically stars it for me, and it puts it in this column for the starred. And I swear, I mean, it tells you how many questions are in there. I swear, it said 3. I'm moving on. This is how the live stream turns into a 2 or 3 hour marathon, and people think that Nick hates me. Kevin, I think I had Kevin's question up there, and then I put it down again. Why does the defense play so terribly on the road? I expect Dallas to score at will, and Pat will have to outscore them. I'm trying to just think about if the evidence backs up what you're asserting there. Because I think, part of it, I would say, is that they've had some really tough games on the road. And let me, if I can here, going to our defensive splits. Let's start there. They are giving up about a third of a more yard per play. No, wait, that's wrong. That's the wrong category. Yards. Well, they average a half a yard better run defense away than they are at home. They are allowing 2 more yards per play passing on the road than they are at home, so that's legitimate. Better quarterback rating. Well, I mean, the offense has a better quarterback rating um, on the road than at home against the Chiefs defense. So they have actually, oddly enough, given up more rushing touchdowns on the road. They have almost the exact same, even though they've played an odd number of games. Um, a little bit of touch because I know the Chiefs have the run plays have been a little bit crazy, but they have played 302 plays away from home and 296 at home. That's a 6-play difference, despite the fact that they're played an uneven number of games away from home. I mean, and some of the numbers are just spot on. I mean, they're like completion percentage is the same. I mean, like I said, they're giving up more yards per attempt on the road. I would probably need to look and see how much that difference compares to the rest of the league. Let me pull up the rest of the league's average. It's pretty darn close. I mean, teams average defense. I guess you're looking at the other way around, but I mean, home and road splits in the NFL are 6.9 away, it's 7.2 at home. So they're pretty close. So the Chiefs having a 2-yard difference is actually pretty severe. But that being said, I think I would still circle back and say that, what's the most obvious reason for that? Okay, well, let's take a look at Denver, Buffalo, Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Chargers. I mean, you only gave up 151 yards to the Giants, so they were terrible. So, but I don't think they had a lot of throws that night. So I guess they had a little moderate success. The Chargers had a really good day against you, but I mean, you're also talking about a good passing offense and Buffalo and Denver. I mean, I still would be, I'm still would be annoyed and should be annoyed that you gave up that many yards to Bo Nix, but it is what it is. You gave up a lot of yards to Buffalo. I think it's a little bit of the quality of the opponents. I mean, certainly, I think that the Chiefs have obviously, I mean, they've had more difficult games on the road than they have at home. So that was my kind of assumption going into the question there, Kevin, is just that they've had a more difficult schedule on the road than they've had at home so far. However, I mean, some of those numbers are definitely a concern that there's that much of a split between home and road in the passing game and how many yards are giving up per pass. I'll be honest, I do have some concerns. I mean, here's the thing, Thanksgiving is usually a little bit different. Thursday games are usually terrible. I mean, we talked about it, and usually it seems like scoring is down. Now you're always going to have exceptions, but it's like, should this game end up being a shootout, or could we be surprised and this game's in the teens? I don't think it is. I mean, I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring game. I don't think it's going to be in the 40s, but I've taken the Chiefs to win this game 31-24. So I guess to a certain degree, I'm keep picking these two teams to score a lot of points. So I can't really criticize there, but I don't know. I mean, this will be a good test, Kevin. I mean, this will be a good test to see if the Chiefs defense can step up and kind of hold down a good offense. Dallas has a good offense. I mean, that's how they win games. They score points. So I think this will be a good test to see, what they've got. If they can step up this week, then you're probably going to feel a little bit differently about the Chiefs defense. But it does look like, now you pointed out and everything, it does look like the Chiefs have a little bit of a problem with a leaky pass defense. Now, is it that? Or is it this, that their defense is that much better at home because of the Arrowhead factor? I mean, there's no doubt. We saw it a couple of weeks ago, that I'm trying to remember the last home game before. Was that the Raiders all the way back then? I mean, it was, the Chiefs have had some games where they've rattled some teams, their offenses, that they've forced them into some penalties. They've, whether it's delay of game or false starts. I mean, they've forced the some teams into some rough moments because of the home field advantage. So maybe is it a little bit of that? Could be. But let's see what happens. I mean, if the Chiefs defense comes up and has a big performance against Dallas, then maybe you're going to start feeling a little bit better about them on the road. But I think they've had some tough games. Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate somebody. Brian, I haven't seen Brian tonight to remind me to ask people to give a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video here, just so other people can help find the live stream and find Chiefs Digest on YouTube. Much appreciated, Joe. Dr. Ozzy, if Trey is out for a longer time, would it be in the Chiefs' interest to try more at right guard? Caliendo had some real big oh-nos on Sunday. Possibly. I mean, I think it would be an interesting question that if the Chiefs lacked confidence in Caliendo, if they would go to Jalen or they would go with Hunter Norzat next. Jalen's never played regular NFL season game at guard. So I don't think he had ever even played. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look if he even took any snaps at guard in preseason games this year. I know he had not done it prior to this season. So him experimenting at guard was all new for him. I mean, the Chiefs did it and they feel comfortable that he could do it. I don't think it's what they want to do. And I mean, especially because one thing that Andy Reid and Andy Heck both hate, and we've talked about it before, is that if you put a guy in a spot like that, you put Jalen Moore at right guard, and now something happens to Josh Simmons or something happens to Jawan Taylor, and now you're having to move Jalen out somewhere else, and now you're bringing somebody else in. Now you've got 40% of your line playing out of position or playing a different position than they were playing 2 seconds ago. They don't like to be in that spot. So I think that they would prefer for Caliendo to work it out and them to be able to just scheme around where Caliendo is not as strong as Trey. I would not mind. I mean, if they felt like Caliendo was struggling and they need to go a different direction, I would not mind seeing Hunter Norzat at all. I'd like to see what Hunter's got. Jalen's an option though. He certainly is. So I'm still looking at the star just to make sure that nobody else is popping in. It still says 4. So I'm just saying I have no idea how any of this happens. I feel so bad that it keeps happening to Jesus. It's just terrible. I'm Sco. I am Sco. I hope I'm doing something right there. Appreciate the question. Is Andy still primarily calling offensive plays, and is he being stubborn, or is he so resistant to change that he'd rather stay with plays that become stale and predictable? I'll be honest. I mean, the Chiefs, they're not real transparent on who is calling plays, but my understanding is that Matt Nagy is calling the plays. Andy can interject. Now, sometimes, Andy may be calling the play to Matt Nagy, and then Matt Nagy is calling it into Mahomes. So, who's calling it is maybe a little bit debatable. But more often than not, my understanding these days is how it works is that Matt Nagy is calling the plays. If it's one that Andy doesn't like, he can immediately overrule and change it. Because again, for the most part, and sometimes they'll be talking amongst themselves and everything. They know what they have an idea of what they want to do. But then the other thing is that they've game played this, on Friday and Saturday of going through, and what are they going to call in each situation? Remember, they've got the opening script. So they've got maybe 15, 20 plays that they know that they want to call on first and second downs. Then they've got plays that they know that they're going to call on third down, whether it's third and short, third and long, third and medium, whatever it may be. They got red zone plays. They know what they're going to call in the red zone. So there's not any, and then they've got certain plays, specific plays that they know they're going to call from, the whether it's the left hash or the right hash or the center of the field, which order you go in based on where the ball position is. I mean, all of this goes into it, and they've made that decision. So, I mean, my guess is that on a typical game day, I mean, Andy might only overrule Matt Nagy once or twice tops. I mean, otherwise they know what they're going to call in all of those situations. So I don't think it's that. And now, hey, was that did things change on Sunday? With the the Chiefs ending up running the ball more. I mean, I'm assuming that they were planning on running the ball a lot more going into that game. Did it cause them to go away from the RPOs after they had the first turnover? I don't know. I mean, it's been a short week, so we haven't gotten into a lot of those conversations and some of the behind the scenes stuff. So I can't offer a lot of insight onto that right now, unfortunately. But I mean, the game. If you're concerned about the plays that have become stale and predictable, I mean, that goes into more into game planning, and that's the week process, and that's the people who are involved. And again, I mean, in that case, Andy's got 51% control. As he will gladly tell you, but I mean, I'll just tell you in practical terms, when it comes to building that game plan, the number one voice in that game plan is Andy Reid. I mean, there's nothing that's going to go on the play sheet that Andy Reid doesn't sign off on and approve of. The second most important voice is Patrick Mahomes. They're not running anything that Patrick doesn't feel comfortable with, that he's not a fan of. So he gets to sign off on everything. There'll be times that he comes to the sideline and says he wants a particular play at a particular moment. So if anything, there's times when Patrick Mahomes is the one calling the plays. Matt Nagy's third. And, there's other guys, Joe Blameyer's involved in that process too. Pretty much all the assistants have some voice in the game planning and everything. Andy Heck, Connor Embry, Todd Pinkston. Todd and Connor probably have a little bit less of an input than some of the others do, just being younger and newer to the staff. But Joe Blameyer's got a big voice. He might be right after Matt Nagy, might have the biggest voice on putting those game plans together. So is that, a little bit of the complaints with the offense being a little predictable at times? Is it that? Is it just the game planning during the week? Maybe. So I don't think it's as much during the game calling during the game itself, but game planning and putting together the play sheet, yeah, that might be where your concerns are kind of focused. Daniel just wanted to say that the signing of Dameon Pierce is a very good signing for the Chiefs and could bring more balance to the offense. What say you if he gets the opportunity? And like I said, I mean, Nick and I, we were talking about it the other day for 41 is the mic and the handful. I mean, there's only 10 of them, but Nick thought that he had a little bit of juice and maybe has a little bit more burst and speed right now than Isaiah Pacheco does. And Isaiah's obviously hurt right now. So probably Isaiah's going to have a little bit less burst and speed than he did the last time that we saw him. So, yeah, it's I'm now reading Jesus's comments. See, this is the thing. I mean, I have a hard time sometimes reading and talking at the same time. So sorry, Daniel. We'll see. I mean, if that's the case, if he's the guy that can come in and make an impact, then it's worth a try. I mean, they need somebody who's got a little bit clearly they need somebody who's got some experience and some juice, because that's their concern with Brashard Smith, is that he just doesn't have the experience right now. The kind of the discipline and the patience to do some of the things that they want to do. And especially with, some of the run concepts that the Chiefs use. I mean, it requires patience and it requires reading the hole. And that's still an emerging concept, an emerging skill for Brashard. I mean, Brashard's at this point just kind of see hole, hit, run. And the Chiefs want a little bit more experience in that, one with a little bit more patience. And because sometimes it's going to lead to a 2-yard gain. Every once in a while, if he bounces one, it might be 26. You never know. But I would favor the 26 possibility right now. And if it meant that Brashard Smith got you 2 yards on occasion, I'm okay with that. But let's see. I mean, they need some more explosion. So if he can do it. I don't know, Jimmy's. I know Jaden Hicks is a pretty good player. That one does baffle me why he does not get more playing time. And I know that. I knew that question was somewhere. Mac John, any interest in bringing Juan Thornhill back, or has he lost it? I'm assuming that the Chiefs are thinking in that category. Obviously, that was the kind of the same answer that the Chiefs came back with. Why am I completely blanking on Colin Saunders' name? There you go. Got it. Nailed it. Yeah, I mean, one like I was talking about earlier. I mean, with the Chiefs and the safety group right now, I mean, they're pretty happy with what they got. So, I don't think that they would view Juan as a 53 active player for them right now. I mean, he would be a practice squad guy at best, and they've got some depth. So I don't know if there'd be a ton of opportunities here for Juan. And I haven't really paid attention to his film, so I don't know if he's lost it or not. I think the Chiefs are telling us that if they weren't interested in bringing him back, then that's probably what they believe. Colin is a different player. I mean, from what I have seen, it certainly looks like that Colin's been asked to put on a lot of weight since the last time he was in KC, and so I'm not sure that's exactly what the Chiefs would want right now from him. And he's 29, and I mean, he's always been a good athlete, but I mean, you do at some point non-superstar players do hit their walls. And I mean, I know there's some guys like Mike Pennell. Mike Pennell is 105 years old. No, I know he's only like 34. But I like to tease Mike about how old he is. But players age differently, and Colin probably would be on the wrong side of things right now. His tape this year hasn't been great, so I think that would probably have affected a little bit of the Chiefs' interest in bringing Colin back. And maybe the same thing with Juan, because right now Chiefs are feeling. I mean, I think they like what they have at safety. Philip, what about Juju? Are you thinking about am I disappointed in Juju? I'm assuming that maybe like where the question popped up at that time frame. I mean, Juju, for what he's done for you and what he cost you, I mean, Juju is just a bargain. And I mean, if he ends up with 500 yards and he is your fifth receiver, essentially, and when I talk about, receivers, obviously I'm including Travis Kelce and counting him as a pass catcher but right now, I mean, Juju is sixth and he could end up with 500 plus yards this year. I got no problems with that. I mean, you've got you're going to put up some numbers on this offense, and they're pretty. You're not going to have like the Chiefs had a few years ago where you had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill with 1,400 yards each. So I mean, this is going to be an offense though where I mean you might have six guys end up with 600 yards. I mean, I don't know if Juju will get there. I mean, he's at 299 right now. And I mean, obviously they've got 6 more games to go. So you have to get like 50 yards a game to get there. It might be too much, but one big play could get him part of the way there. I'm not disappointed in Juju at all. I mean, I think he's given you exactly what you hoped he would give you for the cost. I mean, he's given you even more, I think, than what you had any right to expect. So I got no problems with Juju. Let's see, where are we going? Jimmy's is roasting marshmallows right now, and that's a good call. Got no problems there. Who thinks Clyde's going to work out? The Chiefs apparently do, and I'll admit it. That's one I have not entirely understood, but it has not cost them, and obviously they won a game against the Colts, so it didn't cost them against the Colts. I'll admit, Jimmy's, I'm with you there. I'm not entirely sure I see the long-term upside to that, but your mileage may vary. Haven't said that tonight, so we'll whip it out now. A1 Buds, am I crazy to think this Thanksgiving game has a 2018 Chiefs versus Rams Monday night game? I could see it being the highest Thanksgiving combined points ever. Oh, that's a good question about the NFL would love that. I mean, goodness gracious. I know there's been some talk this week, and there's some stories out there about, the NFL hoping that the Chiefs Cowboys game sets the record for most watched regular season game of all time. And that's exactly what the NFL put this on the schedule. I mean, they were planning this all the way back into, last spring and winter when they were putting the schedule together. I'm going to go back and through it because I believe that Nick and I even talked to Mike North, the vice president of broadcasting for the NFL, about that very topic, about because it would be very appropriate to bring it back this week. But I believe that we talked with him about the fact that the NFL wants this game to be a record. So, yeah, I think that's entirely possible. I don't know how it's worked. I think it's because of Thanksgiving. I don't think it's because I'm talking faster, even though I've tried to be faster and more efficient this week. But we are getting close to the end. So I'm going to do last call. If anybody has got any questions, fire away, and we'll make sure that you get it in there. I think I may have skipped over Lisa. Did you hear that Dallas picked up like 6 more players by the final trade? And how much do you feel these additions will impact Thursday's game? I mean, Quentin Williams, that addition alone is what changed the Cowboys season. I mean, it's changed them from maybe being a high scoring team that is not going to make the playoffs to maybe a high scoring team that's got a chance to make the playoffs right now. And he's a really good player. A guy to watch on their interior defensive line. He has changed that defense in the few weeks that he has been in Dallas. That's the guy to watch the most. Cowboys needed it. They just completely destroyed their pass rush with the Micah Parsons trade before the first game of the season, and Quentin Williams kind of brings back balance to the force. They needed that. So he's a great addition. That's the thing to be concerned about. If this doesn't turn into the highest scoring Thanksgiving game in history, Quentin Williams could be a big part of that. Because I was going back to A1's question and making sure I was rephrasing it correctly. Dallas's defense is different than it was 4 weeks ago. And Quentin Williams makes that difference. Now we'll see how much of a difference. This is going to be a really interesting game. I'm going to be really interested to see just how Patrick comes out, because there's no doubt this, from talking to him, I talked to him a little bit after the game on Sunday, because he was already talking about playing in Dallas. He's looking forward to this. This is going home for him. He's going to have a lot of friends and family there. He's gotten all the tickets that he can for this. It's going to be a big deal. And we know sometimes when Patrick comes out for important emotional games for him, sometimes he comes out a little overjuiced and, throwing the football a little high. We'll see if that happens, or if this just brings him into focus. This would be a great opportunity for Patrick to have one of his best games. And I know that he would love to do that, going back home, going to Dallas, playing in Jerry World for the first time as a pro. He had some big games there in college. So, this is, I'm assuming, I think he played there in high school too. I'm assuming at some point. This is a big deal for him. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun game. But, what the Chiefs are going to be able to do on offense, Quentin Williams, that's the name that, if you hear that a lot on the broadcast on Thursday, it's not going to be good news for the Chiefs. So, Lisa, great question. I appreciate that. Thanks. Tyreek Hill has to be back next year, right? I don't know I'm really worried about Tyreek being anywhere next year. That injury that he suffered was nasty. So I'm hoping for Tyreek's sake that he's just anywhere next year. But I'll be honest. I don't know that the Chiefs have a ton of interest in getting the band back together. Again, maybe at the right price if they have a need, but that injury is going to change Tyreek. I think it's going to be really hard for Tyreek to come back with the same kind of speed that he's had in the past. Maybe he can. Depends on when he gets back. There's a lot of moving pieces to that one. I'm really worried about Tyreek because, like I said, that injury was nasty. It's going to be tough to come back from. We'll see when he gets back. But Chiefs, on his current contract and the current numbers and what he's got, would the Chiefs be interested? No. I don't think they would be. I think it would have to take a rework deal and a lot less money. So I don't know if that's what Tyreek wants. I think he would still be in the ballpark of, hey, I'm an NFL player. I would like to make as much money as possible. And I don't think that the Chiefs would want to be paying him as much money as possible. So I don't know if it's a great fit, but you never know. It's always possible. Jimmy, thank you. I mean, at least somebody thinks that. But once again, your mileage may vary. I'm trying. I'm gonna try and do something fun next Tuesday, so we'll see if that fits in there. Unless anybody else has another final question, we'll let Imsco finish this out here, and hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Do you think Veach uncharacteristically missed an opportunity to make a significant impact by trading for Breece Hall? It's a really good question because we haven't heard Brett Veach's version of this. We kind of feel like we've heard the Jets version because we've heard that, from a lot of reporters on the Jets beat that Jets were, looking for third rounder, and supposedly the Chiefs were only willing to go to a fourth. I always say, once again, the truth is somewhere in the middle. We haven't heard the Chiefs version of things. They've kept that pretty close to the vest, and none of us have gotten the real scoop and the inside bits on that one yet about what the Chiefs were really willing to go to. I mean, if it was seriously that, I mean, the Chiefs third rounder for Breece Hall probably would have made sense. Now, the question, once again, I mean, you do your due diligence on these deals. And Chiefs, I mean, they've got people, they've got players, they've got everything. I mean, whenever you go do a thing like this, you're going to check on players who've played with that guy, coaches who've been around that guy, anyone's got experience, to see whether they fit in or not, and maybe the due diligence that the Chiefs did told them no. Maybe it could have been medical. I mean, whenever these deals are discussed, and the sports medicine bros, Evan Kraft and Aaron Borgman, that great podcast. But listening to last week's, it was a great, kind of educational experience they were going through and talking about trades and about how the process when NFL teams are making trades and behind the scenes, they're exchanging medical information on these players while there's things are being talked about before even like a deal is in place. But if there's a rumor going around that, hey, so and so is interested in this player, I mean, they were already talking about the medicals and exchanging them on the medical staff so they can start getting started on the due diligence. And you do that with everything. You go about, not only is the medical history, but you go into the personality of the player. Anybody, I am sure that the Chiefs asked Derek Nottie and said, "Hey, Derek, you spent some time with the Jets. So what kind of a dude is Breece Hall? But he fit in here." I'm not saying that Derek Nottie is going to tell you the one thing that you're not going to, you're going to say, "Hey, no, he's a bad dude." I'm not saying that Derek Nottie did that. I'm not saying he didn't. Not saying that if he whatever he said made an impact. But those are the kind of things at least you're asking. You're asking the questions that you're asking. You're going back to your scouting reports and out of college and seeing what you see. And I mean, it's entirely possible maybe the Chiefs just saw something that they didn't like. Like I said, whether it was something in the medicals, something else, something that told them that maybe that wasn't the deal. Because third for Breece Hall seems like it would have been a good deal. Maybe it would have disrupted the room a little bit too much. That's a risk, but then again, I mean, if you were swapping out Elijah Mitchell for Breece Hall, that's an upgrade. So I think you would have wanted to try and get that done if at all possible. So I'm assuming that there's more to the story that we don't know. I mean, if it just simply came back down to, Brett Veach hesitating on pulling the trigger for a third for Breece Hall, I there's something about it that smells funny and just does not make sense. Because I think if it was just that and there's no other factors, that makes a lot of sense. But if there's something that the Chiefs learned, whether it's that Breece Hall, might not be a great fit for this offense, or he wouldn't, be able to pick it up quickly enough, or like I said, there's an injury that we don't know about, or there's something in the medical file that they're concerned about, or there was something from a red flag personality standpoint, you name it. It can be, one of 50 different things. There's just something about that tells me that there's more to the story. I haven't heard it yet. I'll always try to find out what it is and share it with you. But Jesus, have we seen the diamond offense? Nick's favorite. I thought that the Chiefs ran one play from that, because I thought Nick and I were talking about it, Jesus, before the podcast the other day. Maybe we talked about it on the podcast, but I was thinking about it. I was thinking it was before the podcast that they ran it, or at least showed it once. But if I'm okay, if I remember correctly, the conversation, I think they ran it, and they ran a wide receiver screen that Nick hated. It got like nothing out of it. So it was like I think it was like the worst version of the play from the diamond formation. So that's my recollection. If I'm wrong, Jesus, I'll come back and correct it for you. But I believe that they did show it once and against the Colts. But like I said, I think it was on a wide receiver screen that Nick was not a fan of. So, hey, everybody, absolutely best holiday wishes to you, Jimmy's, and everybody out there. Always so much fun, and there were some new faces and new names tonight, so that was a lot of fun to see. Everybody, if you're listening and watching live, or whether you're watching the replay, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the game on Thursday. Nick and I will be coming in after the game. We'll be doing 41 is the mic. It will be sometime that evening. I think we might be able to do it pretty close to after the game. Nick's not working that day. I think he'll be done with the family by then. I don't know if the family wants to be around Nick when he's watching a Chiefs game. That's a great question. But I haven't heard when his family meal is. So I know my family meal is going on during the game. That I just won't be at. So I got that going for me. I guess I get leftovers later, though. Everybody have a great, happy Thanksgiving. We will appreciate the kind words from so many of you, and Ethan to be able to join us tonight. And like I said, there was a lot. I saw quite a few new names and questions this evening. Mitchell just got here. There you go. Good to see you, Mitchell. Everybody have a great week, great holiday. We will join you for 41 is the mic after the game at some point Thursday evening. Maybe it'll be up before midnight, maybe not. I mean, if you wake up in the middle of the night from after going to bed early with the tryptophan and after a Chiefs win, and you may have it right after midnight. Who knows? And then next week we'll be back, regular schedule with the Q&A here on Tuesday night. We'll get back to a regular kind of normal week. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for everything throughout the year. I am grateful for all of you for being able to help me make this thing a go and making Chiefs Digest a success. Could not do this without all of you watching and reading and doing all those things. So I greatly appreciate it. And even the small acts of liking the video, subscribing to our channel, doing all those little things that help other people find Chiefs Digest and discover the content that we're doing here. Truly appreciate it. So everybody, take care. Happy Thanksgiving. I am grateful for all of you. Very thankful for all of you. Have a great week, and we will see you